Banger fans, how's it going? Dylan Gowan here. Welcome back to another installment of Overkill Reviews, BangerTV's weekly heavy metal review show. Before we dive into today's video, one of our Patreon supporters, Branches, would like us to shout out the second full-length record by top-tier German funeral doom band Lone Wanderer with their second full-length album titled The Faustian Winter, which came out on September 11th. You can check out the record on Bandcamp. Really killer stuff. It was mixed by Damon Good, as well as mastered by Dan Swano, and everything he touches production-wise turns to gold. So be sure after this review, you check out Lone Wanderer. This week, we're going to be talking about a Canadian legendary death metal band. I wanted to start out by saying, we're going to talk about XDO's side project, but if you're not a fan of KATAKLYSM, you wouldn't quite catch the joke because XDO is the side band of KATAKLYSM. But anyways, we're here to talk about KATAKLYSM's brand new album, Unconquered, which is out today on Nuclear Blast. Not many bands have achieved what KATAKLYSM have accomplished over their 30-year plus career. Well, actually, in 2021, it will mark the 30th year anniversary of the band. The group formed in the early 90s in Montreal, Quebec. That's just a province in Canada that just continues to put out amazing death metal bands, and KATAKLYSM is one of the more recognizable bands to ever come out of the province of Quebec. In preparation for this review, I decided to listen to the previous 13 records to kind of, refamiliarize myself with KATAKLYSM, and I think that these 5 records in no particular order really highlight, I think, the band's growth. So if you're new to KATAKLYSM, I would highly recommend checking out these 5 records before you check out Unconquered: Prevail, The Poetry of War, The Prophecy, Shadows and Dust, and In the Arms of Devastation. Nuclear Blast initially wanted to delay this album until 2021 when there was a better way of touring and promoting this record, but at the band's behest, they decided that they wanted to put out the music this year. The reason why the band didn't want to delay this record is because, and I'm paraphrasing here, they said that the music is supposed to be therapeutic. It's supposed to help be an escape from all the craziness that's going on in the world at the moment. And that's very commendable that KATAKLYSM chose to continue to put out new music despite the entire industry kind of being at a standstill at the moment. Regardless of what I say in this review, KATAKLYSM and all bands that have put out new music this year definitely deserve the utmost respect from the metal community. So how does Unconquered compare to the rest of KATAKLYSM's discography? Well, let's find out. What's also intriguing about this release is they brought back the Heart Beast, and I'm glad that they did because it felt like there was something missing when it came to the artwork from Meditations and Of Ghosts and Gods. It feels like the Heart Beast is a really good representation of the band, how they have the 2 faces, one being aggressive and one being kind of melancholic. This is a good visual representation of the band, so I'm glad that their version of Eddie is getting respect on this release, and I'm already digging this record based on just seeing the artwork. This is a pretty short album by KATAKLYSM. This is only about 38 minutes in length, but you can tell that from the production standpoint on this release, it's way heavier than the past couple of albums. You can tell right from the guitar tone how it's much heavier, and that's because they switched from a 6-string to a 7-string, and normally their tuning is B standard for a lot of their material, so it's a very kind of stereotypical metal tuning. But now you bring in the 7-string and everything just gets way, way heavier. After an epic intro, we are introduced to Kill Shot, a totally bombastic track filled with crazy alternate picking, blast beats that just make you air drum and air guitar throughout the whole entire track. It's just a perfect way to start off the record. Really reminds me of early 2000s KATAKLYSM mixed with early 90s At the Gates. You can tell there's a little bit of Black Dahlia Murder in the overall sound. It's an excellent start to the record, really grabs your attention and really sets up what's to be expected for the rest of this album. Cut Me Down, which features Thomas of Wolfheart, is an excellent follow-up to Kill Shot. The transitions of the thrash-inspired verses to the choruses is absolutely excellent. I love the one section where Ollie gets to have a ton of space where he gets to throw in all these different creative fills. He's doing something called a double paradiddle. Well, it's an inverted paradiddle, so that means the sticking has changed, but it's the same sticking as an inverted. I'll get into all the terminology another time. Just listen to that section because Ollie's just really creative and he just goes all out. Underneath the Scars is a super heavy song. Starts off with this really cool groove section, and then it has a really kind of simplistic riff followed by a fast double kick pattern. It's one that really shows that simple at times can be just as effective as technical. So they don't lose any melodic elements when it comes to the build up into the chorus. I kind of wish that section in particular, especially like I said, the chorus part was kind of extended a little bit more. That riff is excellent, and it feels like I wanted that part to extend an extra 4 or 8 bars because it's really awesome. The way that they end it, where it has that heavy chugging riff and the super fast double kicks, sometimes that kind of style can be a little bit bland at times, but it feels like in this kind of track, it really works. The simplicity of the overall riffs in this track is just as musically interesting as somebody sweep picking 200 beats per minute. Focus to Destroy You and Defiant are excellent follow-ups to those 3 tracks. It's KATAKLYSM putting their foot on the gas and not stopping for those 2 tracks. Crazy intense alternate picking, fast gravity blasts, and you're just being bludgeoned by all of this aggression. You can tell that there's a lot of anger with these 2 tracks, especially within Maurizio's vocals. Apparently a lot of these songs are very personal and he had a lot of things to get off his chest, and it really shows with his vocal delivery. He's favoring a lot more gutturals this time around than more fries. You could say that this entire record is one of Maurizio's best performances to date. Despite the intensity of this record, there's definitely some surprise elements to be discovered with Unconquered, especially on a track like Icarus Falling. It starts off with this really cool piano section, and then it just has these long drawn out guitars, and it's very hypnotic. It's one that you don't expect KATAKLYSM to write, but it's a welcome change amongst all this chaos that you hear throughout the whole entire album. Another thing to note on the production standpoint is that KATAKLYSM collaborated with Colin Richardson on this release. Colin Richardson is a famous metal producer. He helped out with Cannibal Corpse, Gorguts, Napalm Death, Carcass. I mean, I'm glad to see Colin kind of pulling himself out of retirement to help out with future metal releases. Excellent producer. And combining his expertise with KATAKLYSM recording in their home studios, I think is a perfect match. So I hope that on future releases that Colin collaborates with KATAKLYSM in the future, because I think the 2 work very, very well together. There's not a lot of negative things to say about KATAKLYSM's new album. It feels like sometimes the guitars are a little too hot in the mix at times. It doesn't bury a lot of the other instruments, but you could tell it's a lot louder than them at times. So that's the only thing, I guess, from a production standpoint. I think when it's over, the intro part could have been cut an extra 8 bars, because the riff that follows after the intro part is a very strong section, and it feels like it kind of drags its heels a little bit to get to that part. So that song, I think, is the weakest one out of the bunch on this record, but that's really it. If you're a fan of KATAKLYSM, you'll really love this record. Unconquered kind of shows a glimpse of the direction that KATAKLYSM is going to be going towards in the future. I think we can expect a lot more heavier releases from the band this time around, of course, switching from a 6 to a 7 string. There's a lot of really notable highlights when it comes to the tracks like Kill Shot and Cut Me Down and Icarus Falling. Like I said, if you're a fan of the band, you won't be disappointed. That's why KATAKLYSM gets a 4 out of 5 skulls. All right. Time for the shoutouts. First up, we have Ohms by Deftones out on Warner Music. Next up, we have Ayreon with their new record, Transitus, out on Music Theories. And finally, there's this album I've been really looking forward to for a while, The Ocean, with their brand new album, Phanerozoic 2, Mesozoic, Cenozoic, out on Metal Blade Records. So let me know what you think of KATAKLYSM's new album in the comment section below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out our ongoing Patreon campaign. Check out Shredders 3. I'll be back next time to talk about, hopefully, a prog band, so be sure to vote for Haken and Black Crown Initiate if they ever come up in the Patreon. So until next time, guys, see you soon. Take care.